Hello and good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this Friday for week 9 of the VML. If you're new here, the VML is a weekly league showcasing the talents of people of marginalized genders within the Magic community. We're very passionate about what we do here. We are brought to you in association with NRG Series and also this season sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. No big deal.
Hashtag sponsored.
Exactly. Hashtag sponsored, my favorite. I'm Elizabeth. I'm Ellie, and I'm joined by Carolyn Kavanagh, two-time winner.
That's what my hat says.
That's what the hat says. Show the hat. Look at that
back
hat.
To back.
Look at
I'm
that
not gonna wear it. It messes up my hair.
Doesn't. You know what? The hair is important. The hair is important. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's actually been a hot minute since I've been in the booth because a couple weeks ago my internet got eaten by little gremlins. So I think people saw me for like all of 30 seconds. So I'm pretty hyped.
Well, hopefully you got them gremlins out.
Hopefully.
Anyway, we have a special program tonight. I'm going to let Caroline explain that to y'all in just a minute. But first, we should really talk about what everybody cares about, which is prizes. So let's see them prizes.
Wait, it's not me?
I don't think that's legal, Caroline.
Okay. Prizes is good too.
Prizes. But actually, I got a prize for you. I'll make you a steak. The next time you win a VML and then, there's no pandemic anymore, I'll cook you a nice dinner.
Whoa.
You like steak?
Wait, does it have to be steak?
It doesn't have to. You can do whatever you want. That's your prize. Okay. Speaking of other prizes, season 4 prizes are first place gets an invite to the Kaldheim Championship. That's a super big deal. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for providing that. And they also get a 1-year subscription to CFB Pro. Oh, yes. And then top 8 gets an invite to the March qualifier weekend and a 1-month subscription to CFB Pro. And top 16 gets a share of the $3,000 cash prize pool. Pretty nice.
Not too shabby, one could say.
Not so bad. I regret not joining.
Oh yeah, you didn't participate this season.
I didn't. I actually signed, and then my ADHD got the better of me, and I forgot to click submit.
Oh no!
It happens.
Well, we'll have to run a season 5 just for you.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. I would like to participate. I would like, especially if there's another invite or something. I don't know. I'll take whatever, a cheeseburger at this point. We'll be joined. So let's talk about what we're going to expect tonight, which is a little bit different than before. Caroline, why don't you explain to everybody what we have going on?
Well, I was hoping we could look at the top 16 while I did this. So we'll put that into action while I'm chatting. But oh look, I'm a miracle worker.
Wow.
Just kidding. It's obviously Phoebe. But so I want to show us the top 16 because this is week 1 of playoffs, and we're taking a different spin approach over here on coverage. Normally this week on coverage is a bit of a gamble. We show some top 24 matches, we show some top 16, and the week is kind of spent in a little bit of secrecy. Players can't really tweet about how well they're doing and all that jazz. So we decided to go back to the drawing board, come up with a different idea. So this week, this evening is actually it's going to be featuring 8 players that are super cool and awesome. We're going to talk about why they're cool and awesome. It will only still feature 4 matches, but we're going to talk about all 8 players that received a bye for winning their division. So all the way from Division 1 to Division 8, we're going to highlight each player, a little bit about them. And then if we have a match that corresponds to that player, we'll throw you into the match and we'll do our thing. But if we don't, then we'll jump to the next division. We'll tell you some more cool things and we'll move on. So this top 16 bracket, to note, is by seeding and not by division. So we will not be starting at the top of the seeds. We'll be starting at our top of our division. The other thing to note here is you can see it's filled in. So players already played a match this week that were in the top 24, other than the 8 players that we were watching tonight, actually. All of the 8 players we're chatting with or looking at tonight all had a bye into the later half of the week. So they only had to play 1 match, whereas some players on this board actually played 2 matches this week. Some have yet to play, actually, too. So I'm pretty excited. I think this is going to be a cool way to highlight from 64 people, we're at 16 remaining. That's a heck of a lot of people that they cut off, like me. No, Ellie got cut off too, but that's because she didn't register. So
no, don't put us in the same basket. No. That's not what happened.
We're in adjacent baskets.
I can't help you. I can't help you here. No.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool way to look at it, just to highlight these 8 players. They received a bye in our freaking playoffs. Like, that's so awesome. So I'm excited to highlight them, to talk about them, and to show everyone who they are.
Yeah, so why don't we just jump right into it, because I'm also excited to share with everybody what these players have been up to. So first, we're going to start with Division 1.
Numero uno.
Leader of leaders.
So Division 1 is my favorite to be in, because on the website, it's the top of the thing. So then you don't have to scroll down and go and find your division. It's just right at the top.
Yes. That's a pretty good reason. Well, here we have Emma Skyward, fun streamer. If you haven't checked out her streams, she does good work over there on Team Fate to Karma, on Night Adventures this week.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting deck. Like, this deck, Night Adventures existed as soon as Kaldheim came out. That happened, but it's a little blurry for me, and maybe a little small, but I will say this has a little bit of a spicier thing going on, because there's some fling adjacent cards. I don't know what the land fling is called. I'm sorry. But it adds a little bit of an element of gotcha. Like, you get him down low, and then normally the aggro decks kind of struggle to close against some other decks, but now they're like, nah, I'm here. I'm ready to end this game. So I'm excited to see this deck in action. Actually, I should clarify. We're not going to see this deck in action, but I wish we were. I'm excited. I would be excited to see it.
I look at this deck and I'm like, you know what? This does look like a deck piloted by somebody who doesn't sleep. This makes sense. This is what I would do.
Does it also look like a deck of someone that enjoys playing the Sultai Ultimatum Mirror?
That's probably what shocks me the most here. I'm like, okay.
That's not me.
Who is it? Who are these Sultai Ultimatum players?
Just Emma, I think. I think Emma Skyward is just alone. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure people enjoy all the different things that they enjoy.
I'm gonna hold them a joke. All right, let's go on to Division 2. We have Piper Powell here on Sultimatum, what we were just talking about.
Apparently, that's the best way I've been calling it Sultai Ultimatum. Sultimatum is great.
You just throw it together, just like the deck. You just throw good cards together and you make this fun machine.
Speaking of thrown together, it looks like the whatever deck display that we have uses promo cards, because I cannot tell you what's between Cultivate and Omen of the Seas. Could not tell you for the life of me. I'm sure it's great.
So what was Piper's record coming in, I believe?
Great question, and I definitely know the answer, and I do. It's 6-1. Piper won her division at 6-1, and Piper's going to be playing against Mythic Michaela this week in the top 16, and Mythic Michaela will be on Mono Red, which is a Sultai Ultimatum versus Mono Red is a matchup that Mono Red wants, but Sultai Ultimatum can want. If they design their deck to beat it, I think it's possible. So it's really it could be a matchup where both players are excited, and then one player is like, well, that might not have gone the way I thought it was going to go. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing right now, I just love the vibes that Piper gives off. Legacy Food Chain. I mean, do you want to play against a Legacy Food Chain player?
Also, Food Chain is green, right?
It is.
So what favorite converted mana cost card is 2 blue? Look, what cards are those? See, you could name one. That's impressive. Do you know when someone's
mind control?
Someone's name something that isn't red. And my head's like fire truck. It's like, wait, that's red. Do you know what I mean? When someone says name something my brain just can't do it. So I'm very impressed that you got 2 cards off that are both 2 blue.
Yeah. It's from Cube. It's from Cube. All right, and let's move on to Division 3. A very special person.
Well, very special division, but also
yes, and also special person. Extra special. Hi, you co-chair of the VML, the one and only, finally making it in.
No, she's a co-chair, so there's 2.
No,
she's not one and only.
Listen, didn't you scrub out? Didn't you scrub out?
I'm actually recovering from my...
Too soon? Okay, too soon. Fair enough. But Hayu's going to be playing Teamer Adventures this week. How are we feeling about this?
Well, okay, so I'm really excited for this, legitimately. Obviously, Hayu is freaking fantastic. I worked with Hayu for a long time. It was really exciting to see her just click this season, take it away, 7-0, in case you were wondering, / didn't ask me. 7-0 in her division, is playing against Rihanna on Mono Red. And I will say that I did get inside information from Hayu that this is the matchup she wanted. She registered Teamer Adventures. Adventures is a really loose term for me for this deck, but it's Teamer Obosh, I guess. She registered it with the hopes of playing against specifically Mono Red, actually, like potentially Mono Red, I should say. So I'm excited for her to get that matchup, see how that works out. This deck list is wild, by the way. I don't know. Have you explored it at all? It's playing 4 of the take an extra turn card.
I mean, I just feel like that is pretty wild, and I do want to see it as well. I was not expecting to see it take an extra turn here, but
I played this deck a little bit throughout the week, and I can tell you it is the most satisfying thing in the world to just go like turn 5 dragon, turn 6 attack with dragon, take an extra turn, attack with dragon, and the 1/1s take an extra turn, attack with dragon. Like it's great.
Well, that sounds really awesome and quite the prime. We actually have that match, so we're gonna see if Hayu actually gets that done. So why don't we jump right into the Division 3 match? Let's do it.
Well, wait, we're here to watch Magic?
Oh my god, yes. I forgot too, and all the hype.
I didn't get the memo.
It happens to the best of us. We get caught up in things, like scrubbing out of tournaments. It happens. It takes a while.
I was doing my hair. Can I say?
You're doing your hair? Mood. All right, so Hayu here got quite the 7, a very land light 7.
Probably. But very dragon heavy 7.
Worth the keep?
Not for me. That's a no, thank you.
And it looks like that Hayu felt this exact same way. This hand's looking a little better. What do we think?
Yeah, I have to admit, like putting back the time walk is just. I didn't realize we'd skipped it. That was actually a 5.
Oh yeah, that was.
Well, now that we know that was a 6, it's like.
Well, I mean, how much does that change going from this?
I don't know.
This particular 5,
Yeah, with this 5, it's a keep. The other 6 is interesting, but it was just too chunky. Anyway, this hand doesn't have blue. Is all I was. A long-winded way of telling you that it didn't have blue. I don't know. I don't know why it took me 12 years to tell you that, but here we are.
So Hayu's looking to either play this Innkeeper, looking at Rihanna's hand. Is that... Oh, yep, followed up by the...
Okay, so here we go.
Is that your favorite creature? That's my favorite creature.
So I just have to share with you that I can tell you Hayu is playing next level strategies, because if you mulligan to Oblivion against Robert the Rich, boom, no value for them.
Oh my goodness.
They're never going to get value.
What a strategy. Even with 2 cards, drawing off the Bone Crusher Giant.
Yeah, still true. 2 cards. 2 cards off Edgewell.
No problem. You just have 2 2s. We're not worried about it. Oh, but there comes a Frostbite. Gonna take out that Bone Crusher Giant, make that board a little bit scarier, but
still no value.
No value. That is correct. So what are our options here?
Yeah, so I will say that as much as if it's enjoyable to watch these back and forth, it is a really unfortunate spot, because Hayu here has gotten into a spot where there isn't a fantastic turn 3 play, like other than putting Obosh. And it's clear that Rihanna's hand was quite slow because both of our Edgewell Innkeepers are resolved, or stayed on the field, which has almost never happened, I think, in the history of ever against a red deck. Right. So we have to be ready for whatever big is in our opponent's hand. And I imagine we probably assume it's more than one spell. Right now we can see it's actually only one spell. But there's a land in play, the Snow Creature land, which is really packs like a heck of a punch. Have you played against the new Snowland?
I have played against that new Snowland, and I have died to that new Snowland.
I've been sharing this good word of Faceless Haven, telling people it's a rogue, just letting everybody know.
That was a very heavy swing there. Oof, you were totally right.
Yeah.
Coming in, swinging in for, what was that, 8? Down to 6? Yeah. He's definitely not in a great spot.
Yeah, and now we have a turn 5 play, which we've had the whole time, but we also happen to know that there's a matching set on the other side.
Ooh.
So I'm not really sure what how you can kind of process here. It looks like we're gonna.
Well, how does it affect the board if Hayu plays the Mammoth?
So I think the thought process here is, okay, I need to deal with the board, right? So these two Edgewell Innkeepers are likely going to trade with a robber, and then the Mammoth is going to trade with a Faceless Haven, and we're going to take 2. The only issue is we just kind of know that that's not actually what's going to happen, but that's what Hayu has to deal with, is like, these things are going to attack me and I'm at 6, I have to block them. So I think that's why the Mammoth was played instead of the Dragon, because the Dragon doesn't block the Haven any better than the Mammoth.
Yeah, so
and we can buff a spell here in theory.
Yeah, so Hayu can either block.
Well, we have to block
Innkeepers, or
we have to
double block. Yeah, we
can't double block. Yeah, because we're at 6. So
yeah, keep swanning Keeper in case something good happens.
Yeah, for sure. There's always the top of our deck. But in this case,
looks like we're gonna move to a quick game.
I saw it coming, but I just think that it just didn't do anything about it. It's like, oh, I saw it coming, but I decided not to act. Sort of what
it looked like the draws there were just like a little bit unfortunate. Like,
mulling to 5 is like a really rough beats against a deck that's like, okay, all my spells do something quite quickly. I will say, like, clearly watching the sideboarding here from Hayu's perspective is they really do have a plan. It's one of the things that I've heard from players that are playing the VML this season, and I've also given this advice too, is when you can test your matchups. There we go. I got words. And I know for a fact that Hayu has taken this very seriously this season, and you can tell, like, when someone has that plan coming into sideboarding, it's not their first visit to the sideboard on Arena, so it's pretty cool to see.
What are we expecting Rihanna to board in?
So I played them on a red deck for a little bit this week, and I was trying to decide what I sideboarded. The cards that are interesting are like, is the Akroan War good enough? And I think it is, because a lot of Hayu's creatures are pretty powerful. Phoenix of Ash seems like a possible option, but could be kind of slow. And you're playing this little bit of a game of chicken with the dragon, like your Hayu's dragons in this case, because you can't tell if they're going to be in or out or not. So it's definitely like a game of, do I bring in my red cat melees if I think she's going to side out dragons, and kind of, but if I don't bring them in and then she doesn't side out dragon, like, it's definitely this really awkward dance that we have going on here. Looks like the Akroan Wars were considered right away. Those jumped right in the deck.
Now we're just trying to figure out 2 cards to take out, or
it looks like Frostbites were trimmed, and then 2 of the like 1 mana bad creature. Mono red players are going to come at me. Oh. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the one that has haste in like a very strange scenario. So
it's a good decent hand here from Rihanna. And then how you kept this kind of 7?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. Like, you have a removal spell and a pseudo removal spell with the bounce, and you need lands to play Magic. So I've
heard that.
This is why you have me on, by the way.
It is really
the wealth of knowledge I bring to the table.
So
well, you
so
see,
much.
Ellie, you
I don't
need
even
land.
know. I don't even know I'm here. Honestly, I'm just here to frame you. Just turn that spotlight on you any opportunity.
Give that beautiful depth of knowledge that I'm offering over here.
All right,
this is the wonder I was talking about, just so you know.
I'm enjoying it. All right, so Rihanna's swinging for 1 and followed up with Rimrock Knight, which Hayu's going to just go ahead and say, nope, I don't really care about you, Dwarf.
Playing Rimrock Knight on turn 2 is one of my favorite plays with the mono red deck that I don't see as often as possibly you could have. like from Rihanna's spot, it was kind of tempting to just try and double pump the charger, which we know would have failed. So it's pretty good discipline to be like, no, I'm just going to play a 3/1 here. Sure. Don't mind me, just a 3/1.
Rihanna's now playing a Robber the Rich, and looks like Hayu's just going to either opposite play of Brazen Bar, just flat out.
Yeah, this is interesting. So now the cards in hand are equal. I don't think I actually really wish I knew how Magic worked, in the sense that I don't think Rihanna could then respond and cast another card from their hand, but I don't know. Like, I wonder what would have happened if Rihanna had cast the Rimrock Knight after Hayu cast the Brazen Borrower, because then the cards in hand would be unequal again. I wasn't paying enough attention to the stops to know the process there, but kind of an interesting option available.
So Hayu put the Obosh into her hand, has a red cap melee up.
Yeah, this is why I liked that opening hand, right? It's like, we had a removal spell, which we've used one, and we happen to draw another, but now we just always have this option if like a Torbrand comes down, which I don't even think might be in this list, but just like if something bad or scary comes down, we got this red cap melee on loan should we need it. And then for now, we can kind of, Hayu was actually being the beep down a little bit with the 3/1 with the Brazen Bar. So.
But Rihanna's going to bring Hayu down to 11, play another Rimrock Knight. Hayu opts not to use the red cap melee there.
Oh my gosh, I haven't even read this card before. Oh
snap. Well, that
sadness.
makes sense.
And that sort of makes sense, right? Like you pointed out, you're like, oh, Hayu didn't use red cap end of turn. I did not read the card in Hayu's hand, but it's clear it was a sweeper. Those weren't paying attention at home. And that makes sense. It's like, hey, I don't need to do it. I got this cool card.
Yeah, forget it.
Wow, Primal Might. Did you know that that's my favorite card?
Is it really your favorite card?
It is really my favorite card in Standard.
Okay.
My favorite card of all time is a Boreal Grazer, which, by the way, pairs quite nicely with the Primal Might. If you're ever curious.
I don't know how to feel about that statement. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing I learned about you, Ellie, though, is that a lot of times when we get together, I tell you something quite beautiful about myself, and then you stick around and still hang out anyway.
I just accept it. Now here we have, Embercleave coming down. Is Hayu just going to pop that red cap melee?
Yeah, unfortunately, like face up, this looks like Hayu's getting the bad end of an Embercleave, but that red cap melee came in handy. And this is so here is why I think the assessment of saying like Hayu's point of view is I have a good red matchup is the fact that the game closes so quickly with a card like Obosh. Like we're about to attack for at least 10, maybe 11. There's a heck of a lot of damage.
Obosh is kind of like, in this case, is kind of like Hayu's own Embercleave.
Yeah, and we also happen to know that she has this next removal spell in hand. So as long as she can avoid a double creature spell, she just has lethal in a couple crazy ways. So
that one happened, right? So
no, I think that one's a sorcery. I think the other fight card is an instant. Yeah,
you're right. Primal Might being a sorcery.
It's actually a fireball. They just like accidentally misspelled it.
That's my confusion. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, it's okay. We've all been there. I was gonna say the only way that this goes badly is if Hayu used her 1/1 to do all this, but that didn't happen, so we're good to go. And then those little satyr friends cannot block, so that brings us to game 3.
Game 3. Now, does Rihanna or Hayu board any differently here?
Oh man, I don't think so. Maybe the Sot Cummings come out on the draw for Hayu. Like they're not like the best card in the world against an aggressive red deck. So that's something that could be considered. And then maybe some sort of... So Dragons not being on the play is already an indicator it's not a great card. So I don't really see it coming in on the draw and making it any better. So that's kind of the only thing I would settle on. And then for Rihanna's plan, I think it's that dance with Red Cat Melee. We can see that she didn't bring any in. So right. It doesn't seem like there were any indicators from Hayu that she would need Red Cat Melee. So
yeah, because it doesn't even deal with Obosh, right? Because it's only 4 damage, not 5.
Exactly,
so
exactly.
What are we doing here?
Oh, okay, I like this. So this is a little bit of saying, oh, there is Storebrands. Nice.
Yeah.
There is one Phoenix coming in from the sideboard. I like it.
You like it? That is a very land heavy.
Okay, I'm all for keeping land hands, but I would struggle to keep this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like Hayu's gonna go down to 6. That's like better.
Yeah, 2 removals, 3 removal spells and a creature. I'm in. You got all your colors and some scientific calculator needed way to find out that you have all your colors. I look at all my double face lands now because it's just a puzzle that sometimes I can't even solve. So
what is it? Okay, so Hayu's gonna opt to start with that red mana.
Yeah, I like this. Like Robber of the Riches, one way we can kind of get punished from this spot. So definitely approve of. And our mana, like we have 4 lands, so like that Fable Passage can come into turn 4, and that's fine. We have all 3 colors here access to us. So
sure.
You may not know that this green face up land is actually a blue land underneath. You know.
I did know that.
I know. I wasn't teasing to say you wouldn't know that, but I'm just saying it's just how would you know?
One of these days, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to be like, actually, no, I had no idea.
I need to learn the names of the pathways like extremely badly, but I haven't. So here we are.
All right. So Rihanna has 2 1/1s ready to swing in, and Bone Crusher Giant. Does that really change anything for Hayu though?
No, this is a pretty classic, exchange of I get in some damage, I use some of my resources from the mono red side of things. The turns we're looking scary are actually next turn for turn 4 with that Embercleave as an option. So that's something for Hayu to think about. Like, can I beat an Embercleave next turn? What does that look like? Et cetera, et cetera. So
do we expect Rihanna to play the Embercleave?
I have never. Well, how about this? If Rihanna attacks, they're playing the Embercleave because a 1/1 doesn't really go well against a 3/3 otherwise. So that happened. But it's not a scary Embercleave. Like they were both 1/1s, and our life total is actually still above 10. The thing that is concerning is the Charger. So the Embercleave went on the Charger, so now the Charger will do 2 damage when it leaves instead of 1. So that's an extra mystery damage to think about while you think about other things.
Has some options here. Has a Soul Seer. Has a Bone Crusher Giant in hand. Could opt to Stomp.
Yeah, this is kind of a spot. The turn 4 is probably Hayu's deck's like least favorite turn of the game, I think, just because it's very hard to double spell with a deck that has only odd spells in it. And double spelling is one of the most common ways to win a game. So she just has to decide here, like, how can I get through turn 4? So maybe next turn on turn 5, I can play 2 spells. That Bone Crusher Giant being a huge part of how she can do that. So we'll just have to kind of see what removal spell she chooses to use. Because I'm gonna give some spoilers that one of these 2 removal spells is going to get used next turn. Or this turn. Look at this Faceless Haven. Also, it's a knight. Sorry, I'm just excited to show you. See, it's a knight.
I didn't even have to do it. You just went ahead and there you go. So wow, so he's going to Soul Seer the Faceless Haven.
It's a really tough land to deal with. This is gonna be a lot of damage though. Yeah. So, and the scary thing, I have to bring it up again, is if that Faceless Charger dies, it's bringing 2 more damage to our face.
Oh, but there's a Great Henge.
Okay, play a land. I think we're good, right? Because, okay, we'll play a land, the Mammoth will grow to a 5, play the Henge for 4 mana, and then we have enough to Bone Crusher to stomp the Charger. But we can't really do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it makes our life total a little bit higher. So I'm pausing here. Sorry, I can kind of explain why I'm pausing. Basically, we want to gain as much life, so we need to play the Great Henge. I think that's great. I'm trying to figure out when the best time is to stomp, because we could find ourselves in a fairly scary scenario where if we stomp the Charger in combat and it gets Rimrock Knighted, then we take 4 damage instead of 2 damage from the trigger. And I haven't really got as far to decide if that's lethal or scary or whatnot. There's another reason to do it on our too.
Well, high UC's here. Okay, Rihanna doesn't have anything.
Right. Well, now Rihanna's empty-handed, but this Castle Embereth is going to do 1 extra damage with Charger.
That is true.
But I still think it's you can't really afford to let the champion get re-equipped with the sword or with the Embercleave. So it's just all these things that are weighing through your head when you're deciding, do I do it now or do I wait? And those are the things you're thinking about. So
think here. Thinking about what we're gonna do. All right, Bone Crusher Giant, or the Stomp is going for the Charger.
So, okay, there was a couple options that could have been available to us. I guess maybe dies damage equal to its power. Okay, good. I did know the card. I was a little worried I was misreading the card.
You got it. You got it.
So it's like Rihanna probably had to do some thinking about, is Castle Embereth worth activating to, like, because it would have been 3 damage. It's to any target, right? So it could have done the Mammoth. I don't know. There's a lot to think about. Clearly, Rihanna had a plan of like, you know what? I'm going to just play a bunch of creatures, and you're going to have to try and live with it at 3.
Well, it looks like how you drew that Edgewell Innkeeper, so is without a doubt about to draw some cards.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of cards in hand. Whether or not all those cards in hand can take forth like a Embercleaved up battlefield is the next question. So let's find out. We get to play 3 creatures this turn. That's a lot of creatures. Oh, okay. So
how does that change?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So here's the thing. My favorite sentence ever. I don't really want to kill the Fervent Champion. Like, the Fervent Champion is a 2/2 with double strike. But if we kill the Fervent Champion, then Rihanna re-equips to the 4/3 with double strike. Now it's a 5/4 to the Bone Crusher Giant. That's a lot harder for us to block. So I'm not really confident I would just snap off the Fervent Champion, but I'm definitely doing what Hai is doing, which is thinking about all the different options. And I would really consider killing... I can't remember if the Primal Might would trigger the Bone Crusher's ability to do 2 damage to us, because that would also... I believe it would, so that would be bad.
I think it does.
Yeah. So this is a good use of clock, by the way. Like, one of the things you're doing during these matches is you're playing at the speed that you can to get these timeouts, so that when you get to a spot where the answers are seriously not that clear. Yeah, okay, so it does do 2 damage to us. You have this time to think, and I think that is absolutely huge, and people should respect that more and be like, you know what? You got your timeouts. It's time to use them. Like, it's very reasonable to me to do that. So this is, I concluded that this is like something that makes sense to me, by the way, like killing the bigger thing that would be kind of scary with an Embercleave. Obviously, like, the top deck is just something you can't play around. So I follow the decisions of both players in this spot. And Rihanna put herself in a position to be like, here's all my creatures. And so we do have a result.
Rihanna definitely played her game, applying a lot of pressure, just enough to get herself in a spot where, yeah, you had the point where Hayu, just in that one more turn, if Hayu had untapped, would have been in a much more difficult position. But
yeah, that Great Henge would take over the game.
Great Henge and an Edgewell Innkeeper. So good, so good. But yeah, GGs to those players. Good games, great decisions. Like you said, really smart use of the tank, just going over what could happen, what could, those possibilities. It's tough out here. It's tough out here on the Magic grind. It's tough.
I do not play nearly cautious enough in some spots. Like, I'm just like, oh, this would make sense. And then after, I'm like, yeah, except that they had these 3 things that you knew they had. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So
yeah, it's definitely always tough too when you're playing against a deck like mono red or any aggressive deck. You're always thinking back, where could I have saved damage? And then on the other side, as the aggro player, you're like, any inch of damage, any edge, anything, give it to me. Gonna take it. So
well, you actually highlighted something kind of cool that has come up a little bit this week on Twitter, was like, what's some way that you've leveled up in Magic? And the ability to take a step back at the end of the match, regardless of whether or not you won or lost, and say, like, what did I do right? Which is cool. Good job, pat on the back. But also, what did I not do right? And learn from those mistakes and stuff. It's really hard. I'm extremely bad at self-reflection in life, like not even in Magic. So I can understand that it's not great. It's like, oh, well, it was because I didn't draw this card or I drew my 10th land. But I'm trying to be better at thinking back. Well, actually, it's because you shocked on turn 1 and then didn't play a spell, and your opponent killed you when you were at 2. So,
well, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to, we're going to go back to the player slides. We're now going to look at Division 4 leader, Hallie Santo.
Yeah, this is actually really exciting for me. I'm pretty famous for just messaging anyone I know in any remote way on Twitter or Discord or Facebook, whatever, right before VML season starts. And Hallie is one of my victims of people that I'm just like, join this cool thing I'm doing. And I'm very excited to see that they absolutely crushed their division, came out 6-1 in Division 4, and they are really having a blast. So I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, well, they are also on Sultimatum this week. Their opponent
I'm laughing at Sultimatum. Sorry. It's just so fun.
So good. It's just so clean. You just gotta love it. You gotta love it.
No. Oh my gosh, that a Kiora Best to See God in there?
That is a Kiora Best to See God.
Wow. Love it.
Can we take a look at that big old serpent? You remember that serpent? That little snaky Leviathan thing? I forgot what it's called.
Coma?
Coma.
Oh, we don't speak of Coma.
What are you talking about? We don't speak of it. Do you remember the Commander game that we were playing
the
other week?
Yeah, except in Limited, I lost to Coma in like a crucial match, and now I'm really mad.
Good. I hope every time you see that card,
I should have told you. I forgot to tell you that, actually.
Well, Hallie's also one of streamers I really enjoy. Super welcoming as a person, really cheerful, really cool. So it is nice, like, seeing people that in the community that are good people do well. So this human wizard also very dedicated into testing and taking this seriously. So I'm also glad that they are doing well.
Yeah, and they are going to be up against a deck we have never seen before. Just kidding. They're going to play against Mono Red.
I'm very interested to see, even though we won't be watching Hallie's match tonight. Made it
but we are. But we are.
Are we?
Oh, we are.
Oh, we are.
We are.
I surprised myself. I feel like I just gave myself a gift. Well, this is nice.
It's a gift of Sultai versus Mono Red.
Well, why don't we just jump right in this right now? Let's do it. I'm very interested to see how this deck does, like, this Sultai without Uro. I'm so used to Uro being present. It's kind of strange.
Okay, if we're gonna, can we just not? Let's leave Uro out of this. I still haven't recovered, okay?
Okay, I miss you. Baby, come back.
It's interesting that I'm just looking at our show notes, and we really have featured a lot of players versus Mono Red. I kind of like that. I actually wonder if that's interesting. A lot of the players that have played 2 matches this week all registered Mono Red, and I wonder if that's some sort of node to it's easier to guess against 2 different decks with an aggressive deck than it is to do it with a Sultai deck. It's kind of something interesting. Anyway, Magic.
Some decent hands from both players here. Mix of lands and spells, removals and creatures. Hallie's chosen to kind of focus on the ramp.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Like, Red can't do too much of a punch to you on turn 3 or turn 2 even, because I was behind a turn. So I think it's totally fine to take a turn off there and go to, now Hallie's on turn 3 with 4 mana. So 4 mana is huge, like looking at our binding of the old gods turn. They're choosing to not even, like, they got to 4 and they're like, yeah, but I don't need it. Yeah, I don't need the 4 mana right now.
It's just a 1/1. I ain't scared no 1/1.
Yeah. I will say that every time a Faceless Haven comes into play for the mono red player, I'm just so excited because it's seriously like a creature land in an aggressive deck like mono red really, really changes the math, and the opponent has to pay attention to like when can this activate, like what position I am when it activates. Like it's a big chunk of damage, that 4/3, and it's vigilance. Not that comes up that often, but
we saw Hallie use the eliminate just on the 1/1 and then followed up by the Bone Crusher Giant. Do we see, well, and then we have Binding of the Old Gods. I've answered my own question. I guess it's fine.
Yeah, so I think from Hallie's point of view, Hallie's like, well, I have 3 removal spells for the next 3 things, and mono red notoriously doesn't have that many things to threaten out. I will say this Faceless Haven thing is something to consider, and we should keep in the back of our mind. But also getting pinged for 1 every turn can add up. So I understand taking action there.
Yeah, and it's turning out to work out well here because, if they had waited to eliminate anything after the Annex came down, well then
value for the Annex.
Speaking of value, another Binding the Old Gods going to be targeting the Annex.
I have to admit, I really enjoy the card Binding the Old Gods. It did not catch my eye as something that would be like constructed greatness. It's just like a random cool draft saga. And now I'm just like, obviously this card is fantastic.
I was like, this is bananas.
The Death Touch part is weird. It doesn't fit with the card for me, but mostly because what deck has creatures that's playing it?
Well, nice play, by the way, from Hogpog, targeting the Annex before it died with Rimrock Knight, so that they would get 2.
Great catch. I was too busy commenting on a card that says destroy it permanent wouldn't be good.
Hey, you know what? It's okay. You know what? Also, I just remembered there's a Yorion now in Hallie's hand and 2 Binding of the Old Gods.
Yeah,
it'll miss the first one, but
well, see, here's the thing. This is why Hogpug is not just slamming Torbrand here, because there's a huge thought of being like, well, I know that Hallie's going to get 1 more removal spell out of this binding. Do I want it to be a Satyr, or do I want it to be this powerful bomb in my hand? Or in this case, like a Rimrock Knight. Like, I think that's actually a heads up play there, because you're kind of incentivized to be like, oh, 4 mana, Torbrand, let's go. But there's a face-up removal spell like in play. You have to be more cautious. And I think that's a really cool play there, to just stop and think about it. Be like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So do we expect Hallie to play this? There's a third one.
Yeah, I think it's free. Like, we can't wait, right? Because, well, okay, ignoring the scry. Before the scry, we couldn't really wait because the binding's going away next turn. So we're only flickering it now or never.
Sure.
So that's kind of the pressure. We did draw another one, so we could technically get into a spot where we play the new binding this turn and then flicker that one next turn. But I don't know. It's a 4/5 blocker. Like, it can't be that bad against mono red.
All right, so Hallie's going to take out the Rimrock Knight. Is that a Vorinclex?
Speaking of cards we played in Commander.
Speaking of perfection.
Oh, I got really confused by looking at Hog. They have 2 Embercleaves in hand, but I got confused. It looked like it was like I was seeing double.
Which do you expect those Embercleaves to present a problem next turn?
Oh yeah. Well, this is one thing about binding the Old Gods. It's not instant speed. So you could certainly get yourself into trouble from the Sultai side where they can punk you out. That's my favorite phrase, of just like a bunch of damage. I will say Vorinclex will probably say no thank you, since it is a 6/6. But it is something to think about from Hallie's side, is like, how do I lose in this spot? That's a question that is good to ask a lot too. How do I lose from here?
They are at 8.
Yeah.
But their board, I mean, they have just like, look at the resources on
the
side.
Like Hallie's managed to deal with every real threat the whole game, and all because of the binding the old gods. Like you talked about that eliminate on turn whatever. And I could definitely see Hallie's spot being better here with an eliminate, and the 1/1 was probably about to be bricked. But I feel the pressure to be like, I need to get rid of these scary cards. And the Fervent Champion can get scary. Also, the Vorinclex didn't attack because of the Faceless Haven, just in case people were curious. Like that face, it's a surprise 4 damage. You got to think about it. Okay? It's a new world we live in. So here's the cleave.
But does the cleave really do
it trades with the Vorinclex.
Right. Charger.
Yeah, Charger is a card. Can we just highlight Hallie's like APM? Do you know how many times I wish I had an upkeep stop on my arena account that I'm just like in my like main phase being like, well, this would have been good to hit the button. In paper magic I can just say in my upkeep. But you can't do that on arena. So good job, Ellie.
It's against the rules. Can't do it.
It's not even against the rules. It's just like you have to pre-decide what you want to do in arena.
Wow. So yeah, this makes sense. So Hallie just chose swinging with the Yorion and activate the Havens.
Well, yeah. So there's 2 Havens, so that's like 2 creatures. But also, the Faceless Haven can become a 4/3, but it can't become a 4/3 plus Embercleave on it. We're quite far from Hogpog doing that. So the only like thing that we get punished for is some sort of haste creature, I guess, Fervent Champion specifically. But now that we have 2/2/2s, that doesn't punish us anyway. So I think it was a clean opportunity to do that.
Ooh, unfortunately, another draw. Another draw for Hallie of the land.
Yeah, we're getting into a bit of a scary spot now. This Faceless Haven. I guess maybe this might be my new favorite card since I've said its name like 12 times since we started the broadcast. But it seriously is going to play a huge role, right? Like, we can trade our Rimrock Knight for Yorion, or other way, Yorion for Rimrock Knight, and then double block. It's a loose math, but I'm pretty sure that works out. So Hallie is still in a safe place right now, as long as Hogpog doesn't have any removal spells to ruin that plan, or any more threats. But Hallie needs to keep drawing gas. Like, we're not holding the fort forever with these 2 little wolves. They're gonna leave eventually. And the Sky Noodle can only do so much.
The Sky Noodle has done a lot this game.
A lot.
It's already done a lot, you know.
Yeah, it's Hero's job doesn't stop at a lot though. It's got to keep going.
It's got to keep going until it wins the game. So here we're just swinging in. Hallie's opting to not double block with wolves here, just trade the Yorion.
Yeah, it's like trade Yorion plus take 3 damage. Reasonable outcome there, because then our wolves are still around for this Faceless Haven if we don't draw anything. But hey, guess what?
Goodness, that is a Kiora Best to See God. I want to see it.
Hallie, we bound the old gods
through the past. Cast that spell, Hallie.
Okay, wait. I'm going to set my joke up again. Okay, we bound the old gods, and now we're besting the sea god. Okay, I'm done.
That's what you interrupted me for? That's the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really important. Okay. I'm over here giving great color.
I hope you were laughing. I hope you were belly aching. I hope you were a Billie Eilish song right now.
Okay, so I'm feeling, if I'm Hallie, I'm like, that was a good one-up draw right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of, still trying to find the how do I lose from here spot. Robert, so any creature that's at this point 3 mana or less can be played and Embercleave equipped. So that can happen to the robber, but it's not really getting to Also, oh wait, this is actually interesting. So it might not be good to play the robber because it gets tapped down. I think that's what Kiora Best to See God does next. I believe it taps everything. And because it has haste, It might be worth holding it, but I have no idea. Like, it's something to think about, because I think the next segment, the next line
chapter
on this next chapter, thank you, is like tap, like ice everything.
Yeah, tap on online permits. They don't untap.
Yeah, so pretty interesting decision. Like, it might be good to not play it. This is one of those spots. You have those timeouts. Use them. Think about what you're doing. I like it.
The Robber the Rich, if it came down and got equipped, would mean wouldn't draw a card.
Yeah,
right?
no,
or like wouldn't like flip a card.
Yeah, it basically can attack. So I think the thing is there's no real value to play it now, since it's just going to get tapped down. If you could do some crazy math, it's like I play it now and equip, then I can Faithless Haven and attack next turn, but that doesn't work because it's just tapped down. So as like, it is something to think about, but I couldn't find a conclusion that where it'd be good. Oh, I guess one of the reasons to play it was to chump, but it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because it taps it. Yeah. Okay. So we actually, Hogpog has to chump with the Faceless Haven.
Well, the real question is, does Hallie swing in knowing that there's a Faceless Haven on the other side of the battlefield?
Yeah, so this is interesting. So let's see. Let's say Hogpog has a Frostbite. Then Hallie swings in. Then the 2/2 is Frostbite, so only 10 damage. And then Hallie takes lethal on the way back. So really quite an interesting game of chicken going on here.
Indeed. Okay.
Like, from our point of view, we're like, Hogpog has nothing. That's 12 damage, just attack. Other than the Faceless Haven. But like, we know that that's not the case. Oh, and then Hog could play the Robber and attack for 6. So this is actually like a crazy heads up. This is thinking with portals over here for Hallie.
It's definitely very
like, it's just so tempting to be like, here's lethal, but you can't. Like, you gotta.
Faceless Haven changes a lot. Being able to block.
I know. I'm very excited about it.
This stream is now a Faceless Haven Stan account.
Well, okay, this is a really old meme, but when we very first started doing coverage, I was obsessed with Robber of the Rich being a rogue. Mm-hmm. And we would have these like things called Rogue Watch, where we would like look out for all the future rogues. And since then, we've actually gotten a ton of rogues. Like, it's a whole deck. So Faceless Haven is actually a rogue. So it sort of fits into the Rogue Watch 2020. So I'm here for it. Okay. This is getting kind of scary now, right?
Okay, we got a negate.
Oh, but we get it. I lied. It's not scary.
Of Evercleave.
Never mind. I didn't know that's what
Yeah, no, neither did I. We love to see it.
That's like, oh yeah, Carolyn, have you ever seen a Kraken with an Evercleave?
I just like how patient Hallie was. It's just like, I'm not gonna swing because I know what this Kiora Besta card. These casters in the future covering this doesn't know what this means, but I do, and so all I gotta do is
Hallie's like, yes, Caroline, here's an interesting way to win Magic. Know your cards. Thanks, Hallie.
Thanks, Hallie. Appreciate it.
Sorry, just real important question. Like, sideboarding not important. How does a Kraken hold the Evercleave? Okay, I'm kidding.
Tentacle? I don't know.
I don't know which one. Anyway, sideboard wise, it looks like some removal spells came in from the sideboard, from what I saw while I was laughing hysterically to myself.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I bet that's what people are here for. Okay, hold on. I'm bringing up the sideboard so I can help. It looks like Shadow's Verdict came in, and I want to guess that these Gargaroths, Elder Gargaroths, came in as well. There. And Crippling Fear. See, I'm helping.
You are.
I don't know if the Crippling Fear came in, actually, now that I think about it, but those are the options that we could bring in.
Hogpog's making some adjustments here. Looks like some...
looks like a lot of the Frostbites left because they're just dobs. They don't do anything. And so you just want to bring in more threats. I imagine like the creatures in the sideboard came in. Like the Phoenix of Ash, that's one. Just to kind of give more threats versus a deck that's like, I'm going to remove absolutely everything. And then when you think you have nothing, I'll take your Embercleave.
All right, so Hogpog's is definitely off to an aggressive start here. Go to Rimrock Knight, the Charger, deal 3. Bolt you. Play another Charger. But Hallie has a grip of removal.
Yeah, we've never seen this hand before. Just kidding. It's been every hand.
Never.
How does Sultai keep getting away with it?
Well, we do have to keep in mind, is seeing past games, seeing past matches against Mono Red, that every little bit of damage counts. So Hogpog, playing to the board early and just swinging into removal or whatever could count later in the game.
Oh yeah. Like these faceless, oh my gosh, these chargers are pretty unassuming. They're just like really bad 1/1s. But hey, that means that they stick around for a while. So
and then when they're done, they do another little bit of damage.
Oh, you thought I was done. You thought I was out.
No,
One more damage, please.
It's not over till it's over.
So what are we thinking? So what I'm trying to think here, do we do a 1/1 shark based on the idea that Hogpog's removal spells have probably trimmed down? Because, Hallie doesn't really present that many creatures. Or do we just cash in our removal spell? And it looks like we're making a... What kind of shark, though?
Baby shark.
A baby shark.
Baby shark.
Oh, nice. Okay. Normally, my co-caster actually messages me ahead of time and says, "You are banned from singing the song."
I will sing it with you. I will sing it with
you. Well, I'm just gonna keep this in mind for future production plans. Someone who supports me. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I'm very supportive.
All right, so we have I believe Hallie drew a Heartless Act as well, but Hallie got 13, looking down quite a bit of damage here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. 6. But
6? Am I? Okay.
Well, 6 it's the charger. 7 if the charger dies, I guess.
Oh no, yeah, 6.
So sorry. One thing I was gonna bring up here, it's like something to think about. This Heartless Act, now that Hallie has seen the Phoenix, it's just worth remembering that Heartless Act can't actually kill the Phoenix. So you want to make sure, Hallie just needs to make sure, okay, this Heartless Act has to kill something that isn't Phoenix. It can't be my last removal spell for Phoenix, because the Phoenix will have a counter on it.
Yeah.
So something to think about.
Kind of a tricky position, it looks like, for Hallie. 5 mana, not a lot to do with it in terms of dealing with the board.
Yeah, we're definitely at a spot. Hallie's run out of a little bit of gas in terms of removal spells. This 1/1 is still trekking on in, and this Rolling Vortex is doing an extra 1 per turn as well. So, yeah, definitely getting to a spot. See some trouble. Heads up play there, by the way, just to do that in response to the annex, because if you do draw the removal spell and you choose to remove the charger, at least this way you have a, you get to decide, do I want to kill the annex or do I want to not have a token? So
yeah, so
heads up.
Hallie's really gonna have to think here, thinking about now under 9 life. I mean,
Hallie's actually in a big tight spot here, because while she can play a blocker and Vorinclex is a 6/6, it's pretty impressive. Annex and an Embercleave is like a match made in heaven. They will just wreck everything.
They're best friends.
And that's got to be on Hallie's mind here. Is how do I handle that?
Yeah, particularly seeing that
Hallie's at 8, visually at 9, but in order to keep playing the game of Magic, you have to come back to your turn eventually. So Hallie is at a theoretical 8, theoretical 7. Actually, oh no, okay. I forgot we have a shark type. I was like, this is lethal, but
we're probably expecting a bit of a bigger shark here. Wow, it's 1, 2. Yep. Gonna make a big old shark.
What size shark? Big old shark.
A big old shark.
So, okay, here's the thing. Visually, Hallie got to trade with the NX, feeling good. These Rolling Vortex are scaring us, all that jazz. Okay, well, was I just gonna talk until you drew the perfect card? This is so unfair. Anyway,
I love it when that happens.
Oh, actually, okay, I'll add the Crippling Fear. You just pick something that's not whatever is in play. Okay, I misunderstood what that card was at first.
All right, but Hallie is instead going to play a Gargaroth. How does that change things?
Okay, well, I should have finished my spiel. The thing is that while Hallie's board is small, Hogpog's board is small. Yeah, Hogpog also we know that there's access to an Embercleave eventually, and that could be a big deal versus a board of small creatures. But that's not what happened. Instead, Hogpog said you can't gain life, so then Hallie blocked one of the creatures and then died.
Unfortunate, but there's a game 3 on the way.
It kind of take up all. I was trying to process all the things that were going to happen there, and my brain did not catch up in time for Arena to tell me what happened.
Well, I guess potential to change some sideboards, though. I don't know how you feel. I don't know if the sideboards really.
Yeah, my guess would be not. Like, my guess would be a Sultai deck has a certain cards that are there for the mono red list, and it doesn't really matter player draw. Like Wraths, your Wrath are going to be in your deck regardless of the player of the draw. So, yeah. Quickly looking here.
One Embercleave was trimmed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why? Why does it make sense?
It makes sense because when you're playing a deck that has a ton of creatures and a really cool sword, it sounds pretty tempting to keep that powerful win condition in. However, your opponent has literally every card under the sun that destroys one of your creatures, and it can be kind of hard to cast an Embercleave. In fact, you really never want to have 2, so it makes sense to trim down for sure.
Yeah, so looking at Hallie's hand, Hallie mulled to 6. Once again, looking at a hand of a Wrath removal and a counter spell. That could be a land, depending.
Sounds like you were naming like a band or something.
a Wrath, a counter spell, and I don't know.
Or setting up a joke. Like a Wrath, a removal spell, and a counter spell walked into the bar. But
you know what? No. I wasn't setting that up. But you're right, actually. I'm gonna write that down, and that'll be my bit for next time.
Okay, cool. I'm in.
Oh, we drew a Heartless Act.
Ooh, are we gonna counter a 2-mana spell? Are we gonna feel?
Do it for the culture.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, we've been tricked. We've been tricked. The spell went on the stack. We've been tricked.
Oh man, but that's okay. Hallie's gonna eliminate the Robber the Rich.
I think this is reasonable for what it's worth. It's like it's free for Hallie to keep holding up the disruption. Also, the thing that might be going through Hallie's mind is like, oh, do I actually need it as a land? Like, we have not drawn any other lands, so it might be worth considering. Like, oh no.
Yeah, Hallie has been drawing removal spells.
Yes, luckily those
not bad.
Pretty handy.
Pretty handy, I hear.
Goodbye, robbers. See you next time. Look at these little chargers.
They've done work.
They're the unsung heroes. Wow.
The 4th Heartless Act for Hallie.
It was like just heartless. But, oh, interesting. Okay, so Hallie decided not to play the disruption as a land. But we do get to maybe disrupt this play. Oh, no, we don't.
Rolling Vortex. How much of a problem does that card present?
A lot.
Like a baby. It's like a baby Sulfuric Vortex. Oh, baby. Little ping.
Yeah, and it's going to be... It's a little early game. Like, it's only turn 5, I should say. But it could get out of hand, and I don't believe... Oh, Hallie has Binding of the Old Gods, I would assume. Or not. Maybe not.
Yeah, Binding of the Old Gods, I believe, destroys permanent.
Oh, but I don't think Hallie has. Oh, there they are. Yeah. I was like, why would Hallie not have that? Oh, we did it. Our patience paid off. Oh, goodness. That was very patient.
The Bone Crusher Giant, indeed. Hogpog did draw a second one.
Oh, because I was like, what do you mean? It's just in the hand right there. But yeah, I see how that works. Yeah, so Binding of the Old Gods does take care of the Rolling Vortex.
Okay.
It was on the second page of cards because this deck has like 95 of them. So. It took me a hot minute. Yeah. Are you a Yorion fan?
All I have to say are, why are Yorion decks the way that they are? That's it. That's just my question.
You're just asking about the deck. Like you're just saying, why are Yorion decks?
Yeah. Just asking about the deck. Nothing else.
I like it. Okay.
Cultivate here. Oh, that Faceless Haven did quite a bit of damage before.
If only someone had warned us.
If only.
I just wanted to get on early. I just wanted to let everybody know that, hey, a creature land, in Standard is good. That way I have a claim to fame. Something no one else would have figured out.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Even with all the players playing that land, they wouldn't have figured it out.
Yeah, no, it's all me. Just whenever you're crediting anyone. Can we just talk about the two bears in play right now? And that's the pets. They are so freaking cute.
I agree.
Are you a pet fan on Arena?
I am a pet fan.
Okay. I have a lot of them.
I've had the cat for the longest time. But Hallie's in a really sticky position, right?
We have the Shadows Verdict. And we have enough black, so we're good there.
Okay.
And it's exile too, so the Chargers will not ping us. I think.
That is.
My assumption is they will not ping us, but
still, that's still lethal, is it not? Because activate if Hog activate. Yeah, that's.
It is still lethal. You're right. I was gonna say it depends if they draw a land, but it really actually didn't depend if they drew a land, unfortunately, because Faithless Haven, big creature.
Well, GG's there. Good games. Hog doing what Mono Red does, applying that pressure, playing that good land. Best card in the deck. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Faceless Haven.
I'm here for it. I'll order some Faceless Havens online. I'll put my money where my mouth is. It's a cool card. I would never do anything that isn't just talking to you, Ellie. What do you?
No.
Never be distracted. I'm all yours. What are we doing next?
Well, next we are going to jump right into the next division. Abby Rose, Westvale Abbey, Division 5 leader on mono white aggro.
I like it.
I haven't seen it in a little while. Got a little Luris in there. I like that. A little Luminarch Aspirant. That was my preview card in case anybody was curious.
Was it?
Actually. I did preview. I did spoil Luminarch Aspirant.
That card. Okay. Super ready to just talk about that card. I think this card is extremely powerful and will have longevity in many formats. I think it's a very cool Magic card. Also, I really like Maul of the Skyclaves in this deck. Again, like a very cool draft rare, and then coming into Standard and being like, actually, I'm cool over here too. And I like that. Sorry. I was just going to tell you that Abby's great and finished 6-1 in her Division 5, and is up against McKenna this week.
Mm-hmm.
And McKenna is playing Gruul Smash. That's not what she called it, but Gruul Aggro.
So we're actually going to jump into Abby's.
Wait, match. We have more Magic? Get out of town.
I know. We got more Magic for you. Jumping into this next match against McKenna. McKenna, my bad. Yes, but we're going to just be seeing, it's going to be a little bit surprising. We just have hand can for Abby. So there'll be extra layer of anticipation.
I like it. So this is the matchup between Mono White from Abby's side and Gruul Aggro from McKenna's side, I think. According to my notes.
How would you expect this couple first early turns, how important these first early turns are?
Yeah, man. I've actually practiced a lot of different Standard decks this week, and I've played against Mono White a lot, and I've played against Gruul a lot, but I have not tried either one out for size. So I'm quite curious. Mono White has been an interesting spot where it seems to be actually good against red, which is sort of makes sense because it gains life. And then it also seems to be able to do well against the Team of Ramp deck. So it seems like it's in a good spot, but I really don't know where what the Gruul aggro, which is like a kind of a middle ground between those two decks, like what that offers for the matchup. So from Abby's point of view here, it's like always 1-drop makes sense. Aspirant is your best 2-drop by a lot. So off to the plan, as far as I know. Bone Crusher Giant is the card we want to not see next turn.
Right.
The stomp side of it.
But should a Bone Crusher rise, do we expect sacrificing that dog?
I think so. I have like a pretty big love for the Aspirant. Like I think that if you can keep it alive, it's just giving you value every turn. So you're pretty heavily incentivized to do so. I think this is an interesting spot, is where do you put the counter on this turn? Yeah, I like that.
Making it even.
Yeah, that way, if the dog does need to get sacrificed in this spot, you've lost a counter, but not 2.
Sure.
So
it looks like Makan is definitely thinking about what to do. Thinking about probably that very same thing with the counters. What's just best to deal with?
Yeah, I am all for the thinking.
We love to think.
So I was pausing because, excuse me, we have Abby gets to continue off the curve after this attack combo step or combat step. There we go. Because there's the 1-drop that we can play, but there's also the equipment side of our god here. It's
Sword of the Realms.
Yeah.
Like exactly what Abby's just going to go ahead and do.
It's pretty cool. If we can get that onto the Aspirant, that protects it even further.
Yeah, because right now shields are down.
Yes. Abby. Well, shields are down, but Abby does have 2 creatures, so it's not,
Shields are down for the Aspirant. It can't protect the Aspirant.
Yeah. I am a little worried. We know we have 2 lands in play, or 2 lands in hand and nothing else going on, so Abby's deck is going to have to deliver some action eventually, because McKenna is going to start putting out blockers that are bigger than our creatures, so something to think about. But for now, an elemental is going to smash us in the face for a lot.
A lot. Not that. Well, just, just 5.
Just 5, only a fourth of our life total.
Just 5. That's not even that much.
Oh, it is not. I was wrong. I led you all astray.
Well,
this elemental's on blocking duty.
All right. Wow, what a cheap equip cost too. Just
this was actually interesting because the Usher has a boast ability. It's a 2 mana and make a little 1/1. I was very confused. I was like, why are we putting a counter on the elemental? And so I think Abby needs to decide there whether or not they play the Selfless Saver. That was sort of the process that was happening, and it was an interesting decision.
Do we expect just a swing here?
Yeah, the creature will come back to our hand if McKenna does a trade. So
yeah,
sort of, and we'll get a 1/1 out of it because we can boast if we choose to. If we choose to, we might not choose to. I don't know. I'm not that far yet. But okay. So we're not gonna boast.
Does get to go back in the hand, which is very nice, and then Abby gets to double spell.
Yeah, that's a lot of different options you had there just for 2 mana. So pretty cool. And that Aspirant lives to breathe another day. For now. But we are getting into the McKenna turn of, hey, here's a 4/5/5, here's a 4/3, here's even a 3/3 is not great. Like we're getting into the turns where McKenna gets to play big old creatures, and Abby's little friends need to figure out how do they get through that.
Right. There's no flying right now. Maul of Skyclaves though can change things off the top of
yeah. I mean, even if McKenna had a flying blocker, the first strike on the Maul makes a blocking pretty tough, pretty tricky.
So I imagine with 5 cards in hand, McKenna has some options.
Yeah, and as I said, this is kind of the turn to play. Like the awkward thing about Gruul aggro is a lot of your big creatures are actually 3 mana. So I assuming the process here that's going on is like, how can I manipulate to double spell, or if I'm not double spelling, what am I doing? So, aha! I actually spied this one in the list as I was talking, and I was like, oh, maybe we'll play Eska's Chariot.
Yeah, this is a great play here.
It's more than one blocker. In fact, do you know how much more?
2.
One more. Hey, you didn't tell me that you were good at calling cards off the top of the deck.
I am really, really, really good at calling cards off the top.
Well, you freaking nailed it, because Abby drew a ball.
It's just, it'd be like that sometimes.
I like that you're just like, you're not even upset about it. You're like, yeah, I'm just great. It's
What you
brought me here for. It's what we're gonna do.
Sometimes I call the action. I call the shots. I call the top of the deck.
Can we just talk about how much freaking damage this is gonna be?
Let's do it.
I'm like extremely tempted to just put it on the Luminarch Aspirant and just go to town. Like, Aspirant is at 3. Put it on, that gives +2/+2, I believe. So that's 5 damage, 5 power, plus a counter if you want to put it on itself, plus the other equipment is +2. So that's 6, 8. That's a 2-turn clock. For my quick math. And we have a savior to literally save it. So,
well, looks like choosing where to put the Sword of the Realms.
Yeah, my brain is fixated on, just get it all on the Aspirant. What can go wrong? Whereas Abby is probably doing a much better job thinking of things that could go wrong. Whereas I'm over here being like, let's go! Yeah, attack! I like it.
So we're going to swing in for 10 here. 4 of it's going to get blocked. One of them kitties is going away, though.
Bye, kitty.
Bye.
Just these couple turns from Abby have been really, I might play this deck tomorrow. I want a white deck, because the thing was, their hand was just like an Usher, an Aspirant, the God, and some lands, and we just managed to just churn through the value of all of those cards over and over and over again.
Oh, but look at this. The Acrone War snatches that Luminarch Aspirant.
That's ours. Give that back.
From Abby's draws.
Give that back. That's ours. We were using that.
Not no mo. Not no mo.
No. Oh no, that kitty got big.
He's a buff kitty now.
He's buff.
Okay, we got a Halvar.
Okay, so one thing I think priority here is to get that Maul off our Aspirant. We need to fly over and grab that stick thing as quickly as possible.
Makes sense.
Priority number uno there. Which did happen, so that's fun. We're taking some damage here, though, from the Gruul player. I like this. This is exciting. And I guess I should mention that this actually highlights why McKenna was pausing on that turn 4. Like, clearly McKenna's hand had other, like, different options, and you have to take the time to be like, which one is going to impact the turn now versus the turn later, et cetera, et cetera. And that Acrone War is, like, really great to play after something like the Maul. A creature is mauled. Yeah. So I really enjoy that idea of, like, I wonder what she saw, like, in her hand and what she was thinking of, and pretty cool. So.
Yeah, but McKenna's back in the tank. I mean, playing an Innkeeper. I wonder if she's gonna follow that up with a bench creature. Who knows? But that's a lot of damage on her side of the board.
Looks like we're, no adventuring for now.
For now.
Also, this Chariot has been staying at home, at least currently. Though it could. Oh, there we go. Wow, that cat is like, I ate my
chunky. That's Garfield.
I borrowed.
That's Garfield.
Combined it into one cat.
Yeah, so we're gonna see a big swing 4/8 and making a cat token.
Okay. However. I believe Abby has some combination of lethal. Maybe not. We need to draw a land. 2, 4, 6. We need to draw a land. But it's very susceptible to removal because we have, oh, it's legendary. Just kidding. Ignore me. Never mind. Ignoring me. The equipment in play is legendary, so we can't have 2 of them. So that would not be lethal.
Well, look at you calling this. You called the shots too. Drew a land.
I did, but the shots were the wrong shots. What is this? What does the god do? Oh, wait. I was right. Creatures you control are equipped to have double strike.
Ooh,
so
big deal.
Now the savior can get the other half. It has a name. I just don't really know what it's called. It's called the Sword of the Realms, and that is lethal. But again, any removal spell and our house of cards have come crumbling down.
Well, what removal spells could?
Yeah, I can do some research. So we saw 1 Scorching Dragonfire already, so there is 1 remaining in the main deck for McKenna. And then that's the and Bone Crusher Giant, which doesn't work. So it's just Scorching Dragonfire. That's it. So does McKenna have that, or is this happening? Let me just read Halvar and make sure. So yeah, creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. So this at the beginning of each combat, you may attach target or equipment to a creature. Okay. I like it. Okay. So this is super big brain, and I didn't finish reading.
The plan comes together.
Right. So basically, no, we're Gucci. So basically what's happening is the Halvar, I guess we're not Gucci to a second Bone Crusher Giant, but basically the Halvar moved everything around so that the dog can can protect again. I don't know how necessary it was, but it is fancy. It is cool that.
Well, this is right.
Oh wait, what happened?
A problem because the Molluscite Claves didn't go onto the.
What happened to the mall? I thought it moved off.
Wait,
did I just misunderstand what was happening? You may attach equipment. Huh. I don't really know what happened. I thought the mall was getting moved over. Is that not what was happening?
I also thought the same thing, but it's fine. Abby gets back the Luminarch Aspirant, so no longer staring down lethal on a crackback.
Yeah, I got a little lost in the sauce over there. I don't know. I will say that the Usher had vigilance, so the Arc War didn't kill it, so that's nice. Yeah, I got super lost. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think this spell fizzled. It fizzled. The switch fizzled because the creature died.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. That's something I was just all excited for all this cool fancy. I was like, I'm in for all this cool stuff. Because I don't know about you, but I tend to not be able to get through the books that are the cards in Kaldheim.
No, I'm with you there. All
of
the
I read the first half.
Are books.
Second half was it's probably not important.
Except when it is.
Except when it was. But here we are. I mean, Abby is still presenting a heck of a lot of different options going forward.
We just got a big Shatter Skull smash from we're doing a little emote. I haven't seen that happen before.
I don't know. I've been saying it's lethal the whole time, and I don't know if I'm right, but I still see lethal, so hopefully I'm right. We can put the maul and the sword on one creature, and that should be 7 damage. In theory.
Does Abby even need to block here?
No, but it's sort of free because this Usher's not McKenna's tapped out. So this Usher is one of these creatures will not be involved in the combat damage. So we can block, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we don't have.
Abby chooses not to sweat it. No worries.
Oh, we don't even have to re-equip because we can just have a counter. So we are uber Gucci.
Game 1. Going
really got me thinking there. Lots of really cool things, reading cards. I have heard from 10 minutes earlier on the stream that one way to win is by reading your cards.
I have heard the same thing from the same time period. All right, so looking at sideboards here, what can we expect? What's good here?
I got a good one for you. There's a card in our sideboard here that's labeled Giant Killer. I don't know what it does, but I assume it kills giants. I'm just trolling. I think Giant Killer is clearly for the Gruul matchup because they have a decent amount of targets, some of which are actually giants. So flavor win. So Giant Killer would be on my radar. Looks like the card I think is the most questioned. Like, it depends on the plan from the mono white player, but Glass Casket is something to think about. Because the Gruul player does have a decent amount of targets. Innkeeper, Elemental, Skoos, Bone Crusher Giant, and Mammoth, and Lovestruck Beast. Okay, they actually have a lot of targets. Mm-hmm. So Glass Casket would be on my list of things to bring in. But again, it's hard to tell in the sense that I'm not quite sure Abby's game plan. Like, it might just be to try and still like get a win through damage. And the Glass Casket takes away from drawing creatures and spells,
right?
Or drawing creatures and equipment. So, looks
like there's a question
that I hadn't read.
What to put in?
Looks like the Magistrate came in, which is creatures can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, which I actually kind of did not read while we were talking, and I realized that stops the Adventure Zone. Which is really interesting. I guess it stops the Adventure Zone and Foretell, though I don't think there's any Foretell in the Gruul deck. That's pretty cool.
This is looking like a nice hand.
Oh, I love it.
Thoughts?
Let's go.
We're going in.
Look at this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Curve. One.
Nice Skyclave Apparition draw.
Yeah. I'm in for this. The only downside about this hand currently is that there's no way to protect the aspirant. But you get the value right away because you get to put it on a 2/1 that couldn't attack and now it can. So that's huge. Like, really actually huge. And then, so even if it dies, you're like, well, I got value from it and we drew a second one and our opponent didn't have anything. So a lot to unpack there. But I can tell you that this Lovestruck Beast is probably going to go visit a Skyclave and see an apparition.
It looks like that's Abby's plan. I'm going to just tuck that 5/5 away.
And then you get to go to damage down.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. And now, like, so one thing to note here is all of our creatures are still two toughness. So should we get back to our turn, we'd have to really think about the risk of casting Maul. In this case, we don't because of the Chariot, but something to think about. Like, those are the things that are on your mind, is like, when am I out of stomp range? When am I out of other 3 damage removal spells? Like, all that kind of stuff. So,
we had a Faceless Haven draw, our favorite card.
You know what? In Abby's deck, it really blends in. Like, tell me the difference between Faceless Haven and that Plains. They don't look any different to me.
We're going to play a Maul. What are we going to target? Oh,
I think it doesn't matter in the sense that I think we're just making something big and attacking. And yeah, I like it.
Even attacking him with 3/2.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a distraction. It's like, oh, look at me. I'm over here.
Look at me.
We also had a replacement.
I got more where that came from.
So again, I'll just go down this favorite line I like to do, which is, do we have lethal? So face up right now, we don't. But in our hand, we do, because there's 2 aspirants to go on the apparition. However...
Oh, Shieldbreaker is going to make quick work of that Skyclave. How does that change that landscape?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think it really depends what else McKenna does this turn, because there's still 4 mana available. I want to look closely at this 4/4 vehicle and see if that's ability to crew on a block, that makes our attacks a lot worse. So just something to think about in my head. So
losing evasion seems really important here. Losing flying seems really important here.
Yes, yeah. But you don't have any predictions on what we'll draw?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's too late. I can't say anything.
I was giving you a chance to yell that we draw Skyclave off the top.
Oh, see, I didn't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you were right then, actually.
I didn't think so. We have a magistrate. Not sure how that affects this board, or what are we
We
looking
do
at?
have a faceless hate it. Let's go.
Okay. Where are we putting this counter?
So this spot is a little unfortunate because the way we're at now is we only have one 4-power creature. So I think we can. Never mind. I see what's happening here. So Abby's saying that I have lots of creature at various powers, and you can make a 4/4 blocker to eat one of them, but then what are you doing with the rest of your blocks? Or you can try and use your current creatures to block. So I kind of like this saying, Abby's saying like, hey, here's all my everything I got. What are you gonna do about it? So
yeah. So looks like we're gonna be as safe as possible here.
Oh wow. That's fancy. I didn't even know that. I did know that was an option. That's cool. The Usher of the Fallen can boast using the Faceless Haven because it has Vigilance.
Ooh, that is nice.
I was thinking that we could just play a 2-drop post-combat. But then I saw the hovering and I was like, oh, actually, we could also boast if we want to. So that's cool.
Options.
Yay, options.
And then the board's looking much clearer. Going to follow it up with a magistrate, which, like you mentioned before, stops the adventures. And opponent's at 4.
Opponents at 4. We currently have 4 power on face up, and then we have 4 hiding in our snow plains. And we also know that we have a hidden 1 damage in this aspirant that's in our hand. So definitely going to be a spot for McKenna to think like, what do I have access to in my hand? How many blockers can I bring up here? Can I survive this turn?
Can they or can't they? Abby's really done a lot of work applying pressure this whole time.
Yeah, it's been great to watch, actually. I'm pretty close to just playing mono white tomorrow. So I'm excited.
That's how you know you play well, folks.
Just watch other people
to follow you.
I'm here for it. Okay, well, now we get our free extra damage.
Indeed. And see what happens.
Yeah, I'm quite curious what McKenna could have going on. Okay, so Abby is in a spot. Oh, where are we? What's happening?
Abby has progressed through. Abby can no longer attack with the land.
I think we can, right? We get to respond here. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Abby held control. They were just at a spot where I get into the same like annoying thing. It's like if I activate Faceless Haven, will it also just tap itself to activate? And I'm always so scared. So I kind of understand the like, oh gosh, will this work? Okay, problem child 1.
One more.
No
Doesn't
more.
Have it. That is a 2-0 victory to Abby on mono white.
Yeah. That was the first matchup we watched tonight that wasn't versus mono red. But True. It was versus Faceless Haven.
True.
Wait. I've learned a new stat. All of our matches have been won by Faceless Haven.
I both love and hate this.
I love it.
All right, so Abby is going to go to 7-1 now, moving on in the tournament, and
to our top 8.
To the top 8. That is right. Which, by the way, like we mentioned before, top 8, you get some sweet prizes. Like if you win, you get an invite to the Kaldheim Championship. Big deal. Year CFB Pro. If you're in the top 8, you get at least a month of CFB Pro. Pretty nice. And cash. And on top of all that,
I will say all of our players in the top 16 that we're watching tonight have received some of our prize pool, which is pretty cool. So definitely we'll receive some of our prize pool.
Yeah. So thank you again to our sponsors, Wizard of the Coast, NRG, and CFB.
Yeah.
Doing the Lord's work, as we say. The Lord, of course, being Karn. Karn is the Lord. Just so we're clear where I stand.
Like this. This is great. Pro Karn, pro Baby Shark.
We love it.
What else is there more to ask for?
This I feel like is a match a long time in the making. Since the first time you murdered me in Among Us.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to Division 6 slide and get back to talking about our players. We have Tanya, also a very sneaky killer, sneaky imposter. Watch out for this one. Watch out for this one. And leader of Division 6 on Night Adventures.
Yeah. This is so I alluded to it very early when we were talking about Division 1, and Emma Skywards was playing as Night Adventures. But yeah, the list that Tanya has is very, very different than the original list that came out when Kaldheim came out, because this is playing a couple different ways to really surprise your opponent with lethal, including the fling land, and there's like a double creature's power and just all this jazz. It just like turns your dragons into these big fireballs, and it's pretty cool. So I'm excited to hear about this match. Caught myself this time because we are not watching this one.
Nope, unfortunately not. And but they are. Tanya is playing against Lydia, who would be on Demir Rogues, which I'm not. Very interesting match there.
I have no idea. I will say that Lydia bested me this season, and is pretty powerful with Demir Rogues. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about our next division leader of Division 7, Amy Daniels. Looking here with Jeskai Control.
Now this, wow, that is not a deck I have seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
This is I am just really taken aback by this deck. Those are Transmogrifies hanging out in there. Dream Trawler. I will say last night I was playing a game of Standard or I was hanging out with someone and someone goes, "Wait, Dream Trawler's still legal in Standard?"
Yes, it is.
You betcha.
Did I tell you about the fact that I proposed to the person who made Dream Trawler?
Aw.
I did on Twitter. I was like, when that card came out, I was like, okay, Watsy, I don't know which one of y'all made this card, but I offer my hand in marriage to you.
And
I did not get a response. I did not get a response. Reasonable, if a little rude.
So Amy here, by the way, a fan of cheating while answering questions, because the question was, what creature type would you be in Magic? And they answered shapeshifter. That was tough. But then they gave a real answer, which is dinosaur, and I appreciate a good old dinosaur, so I'm in for that.
Yep, sweet list here. And it seems like a sweet person.
Well, this is their first competitive event aside from local pre-releases.
That's
and
awesome.
They made it to our top 16.
Did it?
And they finished their division at 6-1 in division leaders. So that's awesome.
This
really makes me smile.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be facing Chantel on Mono Red, and we will not be watching this match either.
But that's okay. Good luck to those players. Let's talk about our Division 8 leader.
Wow, we made it all the way to Division 8.
All the way.
That's cool.
All the way to Bruins. They are the Division 8 leader, and they came in undefeated, 7-0.
Yeah.
Every week just crushed. And then we have some Gruul aggro here.
Yeah, look, I just looking at this list, it's a commonly built list at this point. Some of the things I'm seeing that are different to the Gruul aggro list we just saw was there's a couple more past the curve of 3. So there's some dragons and potentially some questing beasts sticking in that list, whereas it looked like the last Gruul deck we had did not have those cards. So
yeah. We are going to watch this match this week. It'll be our last match of tonight, and they are playing against Miranda on Soul Tigurian. I know, sad. I feel like time has flown by.
Yeah.
On a Faceless Haven and Sky Noodles.
Oh, wait. I just have some really sad realization.
What is it?
This match doesn't have Faceless Haven.
No!
I don't understand. How does Magic even Magic? I don't get it.
Know. We'll just have to deal. We'll find a way.
It looks like we are going to watch from the side of Miranda, just so we are all on board with that.
We are. It's like a decent hand. What do we got? Some.
It's like a Hallie hand to me. Removal spells, land. Some bombs in our time walks, you know. Oh, good. Removal spells. We were lacking in those.
I was a little worried. I was like, oh, just 2?
I have tried to play Sultai over the last, couple standard seasons, and it's just not for me. I play against it and they always have hands like this, and then I draw opening hands and it's like 6 tap lands and an 8 drop, and I'm just like,
can relate.
Gonna go and not play anymore. Okay, see ya. So I don't know. I
their turn with blue and black up, and Brun's gonna be just seeing. Okay, what you got? You gonna remove one of my little 1/1s? Bet.
Yeah, I assume Miranda's like, those 1/1s are nice, but what else you got over there? What you plan on doing with that 3 mana? So that's what I'm
playing a mammoth.
Yeah, so I'll get rid of the mammoth.
Miranda's gonna make quick work of.
I like it.
And and another one.
When there's one, there's more than one.
I feel like DJ Khaled should really be the one commenting this match. Another one. We the best. Binding of the old gods. Sorry.
Okay,
I didn't go that far, but there we are.
Runs here, their hand is a decent amount of lands. However, they have the age-old combo, Innkeeper and Adventure Creature. So already kind of pulling back from that flood over there by drawing another spell. So,
yep. But we have options. So Miranda does have some options here.
Yeah, the tricky thing with Miranda's options are the Innkeeper. So there's face up another Adventure Creature, right, for Bruns. Mm-hmm. So Miranda has to think like, well, Innkeeper is the most threatening card to remove, but there's also 7 damage in play if I don't, if I do remove the Innkeeper. So I think Miranda's really stuck here thinking like, do I spend my turn removing the Lovestruck Beast? Do I cash in my Extinction Event? Just kind of just playing through the options of, what stops me from taking the most damage and potentially protects me from the most threats. And yeah, I was actually really landing on this Extinction Event now that I was thinking more about it. I was like, oh, that gets rid of 2 of my problems. But
well, Binding the Old God's going to come down, deal with the first Lovestruck Beast, and we're going to see a
oh gosh, this is so much
chunky Brushfire Elemental coming in.
This didn't save us any damage. We're still taking so much. Oh no. A little bit. Well, I don't know if you heard here, but Gruul does a lot of damage.
It does. It did 8 just there, to be exact. And we're going to follow up with another Lovestruck Beast because you know what? Fine. Whatever. We're going to draw a card. Live our lives. What are you going to do about it?
Wow, we are in a heck of a lot of trouble. So Miranda has some choices, right? Extinction Event deals with 2 of the 5 creatures, or, well, it could deal, I guess, with the other 3 creatures, but it doesn't seem worth it. We have single removal spells to deal with 1 creature, or we could play a blocker and remove something, right? We can go Yorion. We can Fable Passage, fetch for an island, and play Yorion, Blink the Old God. That gives us a blocker and removes a creature.
Not a bad idea. Let's see.
It seems like goes for. Where Miranda got to as well.
What is Miranda going to remove here? Because still Miranda's going to be in a kind of tricky spot.
It's got to be Lovestruck Beast, right? It's the only creature we can't block with Yorion. Well,
we see a Shadow Tool smashing.
We do. We're omnipotent. No, that's not the right word. We're able to see everything, so we know that removal spell could be bad for us, but Miranda doesn't. So I think Miranda's play makes a lot of sense there.
Yep, looks like there's no way for Bruns to remove the Yorion before combat, so
yeah, unfortunately only had access to X4. But
swing in and
just have to put down a team of 1/1s that cannot be team swept because 1 is even and 1 is odd. So it was a pretty good start. Miranda's going to have to sweep some of them away. We don't really have much of a choice. I guess let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's tough. Miranda could consider removing one of them with binding and then holding up like, or maybe just foretelling the epiphany, I guess. I don't know. This is tough. I guess Extinction Event you can also foretell as well. So
Looks like Miranda's just gonna. Looks like the.
Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, okay. I'm in. Sorry. So Extinction Event gets rid of 2 creatures. Then we foretell the Time Walk. In my head, that's what we're doing. We don't have to do that. And then next turn we Time Walk, so we have 2 more blockers because they're 1/1 blockers. So if nothing happens, Miranda can stabilize.
Except what do we have here? Lethal off the top of the library. You love to see it.
Yeah. I was over here trying to figure out how we can stabilize. And
the whole time you were talking, not to insult you at all, I was thinking the haste creature is going to come off the top of the library and none of this is going to matter.
Yeah, there's a couple options actually. So thanks for letting me just go.
It's kind of like a weird enjoyment I have. I'm like, how far can I let Caroline spin out? It's like its own game.
Really, really far. I can go down some deep rabbit holes. You be careful over there.
So we saw binding the old gods with binding the old gods. Sorry, I always want to stick another preposition in there.
Right, binding of the old gods.
Yeah, it just makes sense. But it's like, no, it's just
out of words.
I understand it's probably just purely for space, but it's like deep down in my heart, it hurts. It hurts. How are we sideboarding here?
Yeah, so I will say that this sideboard that Miranda has access to is quite a bit different than the last Sultai deck we saw. I'm not seeing, other than the Extinction Events that I think jumped in, or maybe we're already in, I'm not sure. There wasn't really a lot of options to add. So my guess is that we added some removal spells and took out some chunky things. It's my basic summary of what happened. It looks like Bruns, on the other hand, is doing the similar thing to the mono red, or to the Gruul player that we saw before, which is like add threats, take away removal spells. I guess before it was against mono red player, but it's the same idea, right? Removal spells are not very good, threats are good. So let's bring those in. There is no vortex though, no rolling vortexes. Worth noting.
Nope. But I believe the other deck did not have that dwarf, that 3/3 dwarf.
You know what? The Gruul deck we watched, it did.
It did. Oh, we just didn't see it.
We never saw it.
Well, look at this hand.
Let me make sure. Let me see how confident I am that I'm correct. Yeah, they had 1, and I had 1. So, what are we doing? Mulliganing?
Well, Miranda has a mold to 6. Has taken 1 mold so far.
Yeah, I mean, the 6 is keepable. I do like it when you have an obvious card to get rid of. You're like, I mean, I don't think this land is blue on the other side. Honestly, though, I actually have no idea. But yeah,
it's green. But they have a Valky.
They do. Miranda does. But the issue is you're going to need blue and you're going to need it fast. And hey,
there it is.
That was nice of them.
It was very nice. But what are we considering at this point? Because it's very early, but
yeah. So this is a spot actually in my. I really don't know how much value Valky has here. I mean, it's got to have some value because you're playing against a creature deck, so it's gonna have targets. But what you are doing by playing Valky is you're saying next turn won't have blue either, and you don't have any more spells to cast. So you're kind of really just rocking a hard place. Do you play a spell now, knowing next turn you currently can't play anything, or do you not play a spell now, knowing next turn you have a choice? But it looks like Valky was played. Sorry, I should have finished speaking that. I would just take the Brush Fire Elemental because damage, a lot of damage,
especially when you see the Fabled Passage in hand.
Yeah, exactly. You see the combo piece.
Oh, but look at that.
I don't know if you know this, but there's actually a rule in Magic It's right at the end of the phase. And it's called You Can't Thoughtseize the top of your opponent's deck.
Yeah, I've heard
and it basically says whatever you take from your opponent, they will draw it again.
Yeah.
There's no debating. It is just set in stone since the beginning. Let it be known.
It's really the rule.
It's the rule. Sorry, Miranda, we're not over here making the rules. We're just telling you what they are.
It's not us. So not swinging. Gonna be patient, even though the Rimrock Knight can't block.
Well, we could also be fancy and make our Valky into a Brushfire Elemental.
Oh yeah, you know what? That makes sense.
But why not? But we're not gonna do that. I will say that early days in this format, when my opponent cast Valky and took my Kroxa, I was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they turned their Valky into a Kroxa, but they didn't have to sack it. So they just sad it.
How that could make you sad.
Yeah. Sad. Yeah. Ooh, by the way, Bear Watch 2021, we're getting a different bear in this. Oh, whoa, and a different bear? Look at that. Look at that action over there. How well timed was that?
Wow, so we see here, Bruns decides to just take out the Valky instead of playing a creature.
Yeah, I like it. Bruns has a heck of a lot of damage in their hand. Should they be able to dodge? Because the thing that we know about Miranda's list is there are instant speed removal spells, but there are still the clunky not instant speed ones. So those brush fires can do 5 damage, surprisingly. And Bruns is setting up for a little bit of a shock and awe kind of day.
So we're going to see the first Brushfire Elemental meet the Essence Scatter Death.
The Essence Scatter art reminds me of the the Marvel movies where they get half of them disappear and they don't feel good. Yeah.
Did you say and they don't feel good?
Yeah, that's what Spider-Man says. It's I don't feel so good.
That's out of all the things you could have just said, Thanos closes his fists. You could have, half the universe gone. No, you say the worst part, which is I don't feel good.
That's what I call it in my head. It's
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great. Okay? Look at me. I'm fantastic.
I have questions. All right, we're gonna see Bruns bring Miranda down to 14 and play Oversee.
Another I don't
scatter. Chat, do you see what I have to do?
You chose to do this. Remember when you were excited to cast with me?
I'm still excited. I'll do it anytime, but I need a minute with that one. I have to sit with the Spider-Man ref. I just have to sit.
I get it. It's fine. Let me know when you're done. Miranda's actually doing the same thing.
Is this how you feel when I roasted you about scrubbing out of this tournament? Is this how you feel? It hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
This is dark.
Yeah, but it's weird. I made some really obscure joke about Marvel movies, but you're over here bashing my play skill. It's fine. They're equivalent.
They are. You have 2 crowns.
I do.
You. Okay, we have an Extinction Event as the draw on a board like this, though.
Yeah. So, okay, Miranda is really playing this game that's I don't want to die to Brushfire Elemental. And so it's been kind of interesting to me because it's been pretty clear that they're focused on that card last turn, but they're not necessarily going to assume there's another one, which we know there is. So they're going to choose to take 3 willingly, but they're going to take 8 unwillingly.
More than that, if my counting is right.
Oh, I guess the Ari.
And they drew the hasty.
Oh, I didn't realize the other Fable Passage was still uncracked. Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah, Bruns was very patient. Not cracking that cracking the Fable Passage. There is a lot of damage here.
7, 10, 13. Oh my.
Oh yeah.
13 and no way to deal with all 3 of those creatures.
That would be correct.
At least currently, no way to deal with all 3 of those creatures.
I mean, what can Miranda even draw to save?
Yeah, I was looking, and unfortunately, I couldn't get there.
Put to 1.
Yeah, that was. We saw this, right? We saw Bruns play in such a way where they're like, you know what? I'm going to use the advantage to these brush files that can really just do surprise damage. And this was a heck of a surprise. Like, Miranda passed the turn going, okay, Yorian's in my hand. I'm going to take 3 damage on this turn. I'm going to deal with whatever spells are played afterwards and then blink Yorian. Or, like, play Yorian. Or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And that didn't happen. Bruns is like, oh, no, I'm just going to do 13 to you. Also, this Embercleave is just chilling. Like, face up in Bruns' hand, being like, oh, yeah, whenever you're done, like, I'm here.
I'm
if you
here,
need
still hanging out.
You don't need whatever.
Yeah.
Settle the wreckage. Let's go. One time.
Settle the wreckage off the top.
What would you do if you were playing a limited set that had those like masterpieces so that you could open them in draft, but they were pretty rare? And one of the rares in the masterpieces was Settle the Wreckage. So you're playing a draft format where the odds, it is technically an option for your opponent to have Settle the Wreckage, but it's extremely rare.
I'd probably still take it. Also, GG's here. Yeah. Bruns doing a 2-0. Staying undefeated in top 8.
Continuing the undefeated run. I love it.
Doing the gruel things. What a great match. I enjoyed it.
And we watched Magic today, and it was really fun.
We watched a lot.
I will say, I enjoyed this even without the Faceless Havens. Just saying.
I did as well. I think, though, maybe Faceless Haven could have made a difference that game. Who knows?
Should we take a quick look, if we can, from our producer, maybe at the top 16 bracket?
Yeah, let's see how it
see. We're not going to be able to fill it out for you, but you can take a little Sharpie to your screen at home if you want. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. But we can kind of try and run you through based on our memory. Let's test this old memory game. So we have top of the bracket. We had Hayu versus Rihanna. Sorry. And we did have Rihanna advancing to top 8. We had Mythic Michaela versus Piper, which we did not see. Is that correct? So we do not know the results of that one. We had Amy versus Chantel. We did not see that one, so we don't know the results. We had Hogpog versus Hallie, and I believe we had Hogpog advancing there on a red. Ellie is not supporting me in this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you didn't say anything wrong yet, so I didn't know.
Okay, but I wasn't sure. Anyway, then we have Emma Skyward versus Mally, who was not seen, so we don't know the result there. We had McKenna versus Westvale Abbey, and we saw at Westvale Abbey advancing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Bruns versus Miranda, and we saw Bruns advancing. And we have Lydia versus Tanya, who we have not seen yet. So the ones we saw, we have an actual factual split down the middle of top seeds, half of top seeds advancing and half of the not top seeds advancing. So we're really going to have a well-rounded top 8. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and remember, folks, all these players that you saw, both on slides and in the games that we watched, everybody gets cash out of that $3,000 prize pool. One of these players that perhaps tonight or that we haven't seen before, but one of them are going to be getting that invite to the Kaldheim Championship thanks to Wizards of the Coast. Big deal.
I'd love to walk us through, just as we're wrapping up, I want to talk a little bit about what next week is going to look like, both for the players and for coverage. So next week is the whole of top 8 is going to take place next week. So deck lists are still due as normal Sunday evening for all the top 8 players, and you are now going to submit one list for the rest of top 8. And it's very different than the majority of both our weekly play and even our top 16 tonight. So you have one list up to 3 matches potentially. So that's pretty interesting. That's new for some of these players here. And then Monday and Tuesday will be the goal to play the quarters, the top 8s, and then those players that advance will get their match scheduled Wednesday to Thursday evening, and then hopefully, and this relies on the time zone of the players in the finals, so it's negotiable, but the idea is that there'll be a live finals on coverage here a week from tonight. So next week we will for sure feature a quarterfinals match, and we will definitely feature both semis, and in a perfect world we'll feature the live finals, and if not, we will let you know what we did. But we will have some sort of results for you next week, which I'm very, very excited for.
Yep, it's a big deal. So I guess we're wrapping up tonight. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out, watching these cool matches, getting to know our players a little bit more. Thank you again to our sponsors. Big thank you to Nerd Range Gaming for making this whole thing possible. And also Wizards of the Coast for contributing to our prize pool, for sponsoring us, for helping us do the thing, providing that invite, which I'm jealous of. And also thank you to Channel Fireball. My peeps over at Channel Fireball, for giving us those CFB Pro subscriptions as well.
I really want to give a shout out to all 64 players.
Yes.
This is our first week where we don't have access to all of them because, you know, it is an elimination playoffs. But can we just say thank you for signing up and doing this crazy thing with us season after season? It has been really exciting and really fun to follow. This is my first in a while foray into the playoffs, being here in the booth and not in the players. So I'm excited to just watch this magic and see it all play out next week.
Yep. And if you're interested in joining next season, if you're out there, you're a marginalized gender, follow Aspirant GG.
CCG.
Follow us, CCG, sorry. And Swagaway Gaming on Twitter, and you can sign up when it goes live for the next season. And maybe you can be the one that we're talking about next time.
I would love that.
So thank you, everybody.
I would love that too.
Have a great night.
I want to say thank you to everybody as well, because I am Audible and I want to make sure that everybody's still here. So thank you so much. I am Phoebe. This has been Carolyn and Ellie, and we are so glad that you all decided to join us this evening. So thank you so much. We'll see you next week in the wonderful, wonderful finals. So good luck to everybody. Thank you as always, and take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.